Paul Davies, welcome to Liverpool, sort of, although you're based there. Welcome to the studio. Welcome to the podcast. Just found out you are also from North Wales.
I certainly am.
Siarad Cymraeg?
I do.
Dipping back? Pidgin Welsh?
I've embarrassed myself even trying to blag. I speak any more Welsh than the odd word now, but
right. Just thought I'd ask. This is off your LinkedIn, so hopefully it's true. But you're a leader focused on strategic growth. You've worked in agency environments for 20 plus years in the UK and abroad, and across management roles in operations, finance, IT, and marketing. Extensive industry experience in helping businesses to scale and become more profitable. Buddy. Most notably in retail, tech, healthcare, media, marketing, and law. And you've been fortunate to be part of award-winning teams delivering excellence to customers. Currently the COO and company director of Yozu. Is that how I pronounce it? Yeah. A leading bespoke software house based in Liverpool, and a fantastic agency to be a part of. After 10 years of delivering digital transformation to clients, you're working on the next phase of growth, and it's an exciting time to be part of the journey. Does that sound like you?
it does. It's as authentic as I could make it because, that's the position I find myself in.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. I mean, from your own words, I've done a lot of talking there. What's the story so far? What have I missed out there?
I suppose the sort of the journey to becoming a COO at Yozu and, sort of the career I found myself in really is a bit of a story in itself. Something that I do try and kind of share those experiences and insights with some of the voluntary work I do with students,
looking forward to getting into that.
We'll come on to. But yeah, I'm in sort of the fourth year of being a company director, and that was never the plan. I came out of university in the early 2000s with a journalism degree. So the plan for me was to hopefully get into sports journalism, actually. I'm a big Liverpool fan, and I always thought that when I looked at the press box that was behind our seats in at Anfield, that I might end up there one day.
Yeah.
But I must admit, as I followed that career path, I realised that whilst, I really enjoyed writing, and obviously a lot of the subjects that I could write about were exciting to me, I couldn't marry the two together because it just didn't quite fit.
Yeah.
And it kind of left me a little bit lost as to what to do next. So I didn't particularly have a linear sort of journey from there. I found that, when I've moved into a role, if I enjoy it, I'll stay and challenge myself and keep pushing. And that's what I did in the end. So I had a bit of a sort of journey around working in admin agencies. I did very well very quickly, and I went from working as an admin assistant to running a team, and then two teams, and then a department. And I'm within the first few years of my first proper management role, I was general manager, after that amount of time. So, I think I got the bug then for doing something different that I'd never considered. And I was able to pair that with technology as well, because obviously running, operations departments, you absolutely need to have, decent systems in place. So I think that's where the early kind of seeds were planted in terms of where I am now. So I stayed in a role for about 10 years, kind of moving up through the business. And we managed to sell the business to a bigger agency in the end. Obviously, very common journey for a lot of people. And I chose to stay around for a year or two in a group role, but then I went to work abroad. I thought, time for something new.
Yeah.
And sold everything and off I went. So
Where to?
Went to work in Malta.
Oh, nice.
Which is cheating really when you're working abroad, because there's a huge sort of presence of English-speaking businesses and businesses that base themselves in Malta, but sort of face the UK market, and obviously there are benefits to doing that. So I went to run a health tech company out there, and it really helped me with my own career progression because it was a heavily automated business and probably doing 4 or 5 times the revenue that the previous business I was working for were doing. And that was all through the systems. So, really managed to sort of get my head around, how businesses grow, scale with technology as the driver. And just had a blast out there really. Small Mediterranean island, and a bit of a party place as much as a place to take your next career step.
I've only ever been to the port once for like 4 hours, but
Really?
it looked like a nice place.
Well, that's nice
People
in
always
itself.
people always get big it up. So a lot of cruisers go out of there as well, don't
Yeah,
they?
yeah, it's a very transient place actually. You know, it's to manage a call center of about 70 people at the time. It really helped me kind of understand different cultures and personalities and people, because you had people from all walks of life and so many different countries, because Malta's just this tiny little island in the Med. So yeah, fast forward to today, I decided to move back to the UK eventually, and went into a sort of a change program role, I guess, in a big law firm in Manchester. And a couple of years of managing sort of digital enablement in the legal sector sort of led me to want to commit more to tech, really, as the focus of what I do, which eventually led me to Yozu. And I was brought in initially to play a dual role, project manager initially, but the plan was for me to always help to grow the business too. So yeah, that's kind of the brief history of time, I guess, to where we are now.
And who are Yozu? Like, what's it about? What do they do?
Yeah, so we're a software agency that works very closely with businesses to deliver ERP systems, CRM systems, mobile app solutions that might be SaaS products to help our clients grow their own business and deliver their services through it. So yeah, we work sort of completely within our team's own skill sets. We're all based in the UK, quite a lot of the team based in Liverpool, and we're a full service agency too. So we design, develop, test, project manage, manage DevOps, all from our own sort of operations in the UK and Liverpool. So yeah, we tend to work with clients that might not always be household names as such. We've got one or two, but we tend to go for the projects where there's a really complex problem to solve. Yeah. And that's what really makes us probably a bit more unique in that sense, because we've got an unbelievable team. Their ability to solve a problem and explore so many different technical options to best suit what the client's looking to achieve. It's always blown me away, and we've always managed to impress our clients with that strength, I guess. So we've been around for 13 years, I think. Closing on 14 years now. Started over in Birkenhead and moved over to Liverpool just before I joined the business, and very proud to be a city region business now and get a lot more involved in the business communities. But yeah, ultimately we're here to help businesses scale. Every business we speak to has always got a unique characteristic about where they are on their technical journey. They don't always have the resources from within to take an idea through to launching a platform, and that's where we come in to manage all that side for them.
Cool. And for those watching, listening, and for me as well, like Chief Operating Officer, what does that mean? What does a Chief Operating Officer do in your context?
A great question. It's a mouthful for starters.
COO.
Let's say COO. So I guess traditionally a COO is somebody that works sort of with the CEO, but is responsible for executing the vision of the company. And then there's probably two other more operational strands where you're managing all of the business functions of the company, and you're also looking for operational efficiencies, constantly improving your sort of revenue and profitability if you can. So the textbook answer would be that. I found the role to be a really enjoyable experience, because I think if you talk about a T-shaped employee, you're a generalist, but you've got a major in one particular subject. I found it's that kind of experience working at Yozu, certainly. So you can have a broad skill set and you're involved in all areas of the business, but you've got one strength that really is the purpose, if you like. And for me, it's working with people and improving our ability to have impact with our clients, and whatever's within our control to sort of elevate the sort of the service proposition and the quality of what we do. It's working closely with our teams to achieve that. So in a nutshell, it's quite a varied role, really. I tend to also think of it maybe in a more abstract way, where I try to keep everything connected in the business, because We've got the headcount can vary sometimes depending on whether we scale up to work with a new client or not. But there's 40, 45 people working hybrid usually. And there's a lot going on. We're in the business. We've got multiple client projects in development in any one time. And for me, it's just looking to make sure we keep the team sort of involved and connected with not just what's going on in the business, but with our client projects. And we do a lot around that too, to make sure that, everyone feels that they're a part of the team.
That leads me on to brilliantly. So you've obviously got client needs. How do you go about, not just you, but how, as a company, how do you go about balancing client needs with what the company stands for? Like, is there ever a line of don't want to get involved, or we need to massage their views or whatever?
I mean, for us, I think, if you're looking at those groups of stakeholders in, why we're here and what we're doing, we've had to really concentrate on that client journey, understanding, what are their pain points, what are they looking to achieve by working with us. And, it's marrying that with why we exist as a business and what are we looking to achieve. So I think we've been quite fortunate that the way the team has come together, and, we're talking about what do we stand for. We actually rebranded, about 3 years ago now. And we wanted the team to define what our values are, what we stand for. So, some of the values the guys came up with, honesty, transparency, being bold, being collaborative, these are all kind of who we are really as a collective. And they do match very well with what clients are looking for from a business like ours when you're delivering software projects. So ultimately, it's the client looking for, return on investment for, the system they've asked us to build. But the journey to take them on to get there can be quite challenging. And, ultimately we're always building a bespoke system. So it's something that, didn't exist before. There might be great ideas and a great sort of path to follow, but, building software is not an exact science, and it does require a great working relationship. You do need to have chemistry, I think, between yourself and the client team that you're working with. So ensuring that there's a good sort of match early on is really important, I think. But in terms of client needs, the one sort of common thread I would say between all of our clients is, they do need some certainty and confidence in budget, delivery, timelines, etc. And that can be difficult, obviously, when you're working in Agile too. But for us, it's about transparency and communication. And I think, because our team does kind of predicate itself upon those values we talked about earlier, it does make it a lot easier to let the teams work very closely with the clients and let things flow naturally almost.
Yeah. In terms of Agile then, in your role and as an agency, I suppose, you don't have to go into the nitty gritty of contracts and stuff, but what does it mean to you in your role? / what does it mean for an agency in terms of the project management iron triangle of scope, cost, time, and then quality in the middle? Like, do you work in an Agile way at all? Like, how does it work from a delivery point of view?
Yeah, it's hard to mix the two together, I think, at times, because, as I said, clients obviously need assurances on time and cost and quality. It's very hard for those three drivers to all sort of coexist, I think. And, we've been an Agile agency for a number of years now. And I'd say we're still learning in terms of how to find that perfect balance between the two.
Yeah.
But the way we try to do it is manage expectations at the very beginning of the project before there's any hands on keyboards. We do spend a lot of time in, the early sales process. And if we go into a discovery phase, explaining the ways of working and trying to find those compromises in terms of, well, how are we going to manage budget? How are we going to manage time? And what we tend to do is bring the client on the journey with us. So there's full transparency. So they're a part of every Scrum ceremony you can think of. They have access to, we use obviously Jira and Confluence, as many development agencies do. They've got access to everything that's kind of in the backlog and in progress. And obviously access to staging UAT servers.
Yeah.
So they know where we are and why we are where we are, because they're part of our team ultimately, and we're a part of theirs.
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest success we've had, that, if something does take longer than expected, because it's very complex, well, because we're trying to meet the requirements that they've worked on with us, they fully understand that too. So yeah, it's a challenge, and it's ongoing really in terms of a conversation, because it's hard to mix the two worlds together sometimes. But generally we always try and focus on the outcomes, what value we deliver.
And do you have people who manage the projects and liaise with them, or do the clients normally provide their own project managers? And is there any conflict if they provide the project manager or delivery manager, whatever term they use?
Yeah, I would say in the last few years it's probably been more common for us to assign a project manager, and if we can, a business analyst or a product owner. So obviously, if it's an entirely outsourced project, we can run the whole thing for them.
Yeah.
But we have actually worked on a few major projects where there has been different disciplines on, sort of both sides, if you like, where we've had developers and business analysts working on the client side, and we've adapted to that team and, had our own kind of point of contact and a project manager to deal with the communication between the two teams, which has, worked out very well. But also, if the client might be dealing with the front end, and we might be dealing with the back end. So we've got back end developers sort of being a part of that collaborative team. So I'd say every client sort of relationship does have its nuances. But that's the great thing, I guess, about being able to be that flexible as an agency, that, we're not too concerned about what the team design actually looks like, as long as it works and is efficient.
Not being dogmatic over being by the book. One of the things that jumped out when I was looking at your LinkedIn, you seem to be quite passionate. You alluded to it before about bringing on people in the area, being involved in business events and mentoring and stuff. Where does that come from? What drives it? Why is it important to you? Because that does jump out. Like, you don't talk about yourself on there online. It's very much trying to help people, especially within this area.
Yeah, I think probably comes from a couple of different places, really. So, I was a student in Liverpool. I've had a connection with Liverpool as a city generally since I was a kid, through football and family mainly. But I guess, it's given me so much as a place to work. And even though I've been away, I love coming back. So I'd say, giving back to the Liverpool business community is something that, as I got older, I felt, more driven to do, I guess, building up more experience, particularly the mistakes that you've made, and you want others to learn from them, I guess. And I've made, a lot of them. So there's always that kind of growing sort of passion inside me to get involved in some form with organisations to, share experience, I guess. And I think possibly through my own experiences, really, of coming out of uni and, going back obviously 25 years nearly now, and how you make that leap between, I've got a degree, now I'm looking at the job market and actually finding that first job, and that first job actually being a good match for you on all levels. I didn't do that, and I didn't really fully understand what I was walking into, in terms of having a journalism career. Yeah. So I might have had the skills and a qualification, but was it right for me? And in my experience, it wasn't. So I think I've always felt at some time in my career, I'd like to kind of help others avoid that mistake, or at least be prepared for understanding what does a really positive, healthy career feel like and look like. So I started to get involved in mentoring initially. Sort of volunteered through a couple of sort of national mentoring programs. One's through an organisation called Beamer, who's one of the biggest sort of digital organisation memberships in the UK. And then the government's Help to Grow programme. So it's a 3-month leadership programme that's partly funded and it's still going. So I did mine at the University of Liverpool Management School. And through actually receiving mentoring on that and seeing there was an opportunity to become a mentor if you felt ready to, I thought, why not? Let's give it a go. And I've absolutely loved it, working with people in leadership roles in businesses that I know absolutely nothing about really in terms of what they do in their industry, but that's the challenge that takes you out of your comfort zone. And it's amazing how much you learn as well, even though you're the mentor. So really enjoyed that. And then I guess sort of working more closely with students was the next step. And it's probably, again, partly a family thing and partly sort of just viewing what was happening in our business, but seeing students, maybe pre-university, sort of not really knowing what the next step should be. How do I find a job if I commit to this level of student debt that obviously everyone's coming out with now? And I did feel really passionate about wanting to sort of, from an industry point of view, like help more really. Yeah. So I found an enterprise advisor program through the Liverpool Employer Network, and they connect individuals like me with schools or colleges where there might be a good fit. So I got lucky really because I got matched with the University of Liverpool Maths School. So they have students aged 16 to 19, so A-level, and they are quite specialist in that they study maths, physics, and computer science. The exact type of people we'd look to hire, with that background. So we've been working with those guys for a couple of years now in sort of a variety of different roles, and I've absolutely loved it. And it's been really nice to kind of share those experiences that I had and just open our eyes a little bit more about what are employers looking for. If they do have a degree or want to go straight into employment, how can they make their options a little bit more sort of positive, I guess.
So for people watching this, I think we've hit a bit of a gold mine here. You've opened their eyes to what life might be like in the work. Being a bit older and maybe of a different generation, as a leader in an organization, what have they opened up your eyes to make sure the workplace is a 2025 workplace, not a 2010, 2005, when we were.
Yeah, I mean, the world has changed, hasn't it, in sort of 10 or 15 years, and, for the better, I would say, as well. But working with the students, I think for us, it's really understanding that, going through an academic process now, that the students are given so many more opportunities to do non-academic stuff. So the maths school, for example, have been part of a competition for, I think, 2 or 3 years now called F1 in Schools, although I think it's rebranded recently. And it's an amazing sort of side project that's given them experience, even, at the sort of A-level stage, where they're given a huge brief document and they've essentially got to build a mini F1 car. And, when you think about what that actually involves, I mean, it was incredible to sort of see all the documentation that they are complying with in terms of building this little car. So, the dynamics of the car, the speed it can achieve. So really breaking down a problem and trying to solve it. Some problems possibly more complex than we might deal on average in sort of our business. But seeing that, it was great that they've been given opportunities like that. There's so many more businesses they can visit now and get involved in, if it's not even placements as such, but just workplace visits to see, what does an agency look like? What are the roles in there? How to speak to people? How did you find your way into these careers? So it opened my eyes to, the sort of huge steps that have been taken now where, when I was a student, I basically turned up for lessons, did exams, moved on, did a week's work experience. Yeah. But now I think with that and, combining it with the power of the internet and social media and how they can have a digital profile, it really is showing so much more about what they're capable of, even at such a young age.
Yeah. So you reads a lot online, about younger people not being as robust, having pie in the sky expectations when entering the workplace. Again, these are not my opinions for those listening, watching. It's just what you read. Wanting their cakes and eating it, want every sort of workplace request to be accepted. From what you've seen, is that nonsense? Like, these people coming through are not what is being portrayed by some people.
Yeah, I in my experience, the students I've worked with, I found them to be nothing but, a delight really in terms of their attitude and their kind of expectations as well. Um, there's always, a different kind of standpoint that some students in a large group might take in terms of what the next step should be, and what they have the right to be given as well. But certainly my experience, and I've said this to the sort of teachers that work at the school, that I could see us hiring some of these people now, because already at this very early stage of their academic career, they're demonstrating, the soft skills as well as the technical skills and understanding that you'd be looking for, if you're bringing in entry-level roles. So yeah, my experience, I haven't bought into any of that at all.
It's good.
If I'm being honest.
It's just like they should be commended, like self-advocating for themselves. Like,
Yeah,
I don't really see a problem with that. Obviously, there's that line of we all have to toe the line at times and respect and that. But I think younger people get a bit of a tough.
I think they do. And something else I'd add to that is, I think they are very aware that the job market's very tough right now, and some of them are obviously thinking about not going to university, but maybe doing a degree apprenticeship, or maybe just going straight to employment. And it seems to galvanise a few of them. I've spoken to some students where you can see that they want to roll their sleeves up, get stuck in, and earn the right to find that role, or even start a business for themselves. I've also seen that too. So certainly got a lot of drive and wanting to do the hard work to find that opportunity that does really fit with what their passions are too.
It's good to hear. It's good to hear, a different perspective on what you read, by certain people of a certain age, of a certain heritage.
I do think that, Gen Z we're talking about, they get a very hard time. And, I certainly work with a team much younger than me, and, I find them a pleasure to work with really. And, we all care about the same thing, and that's why it can work. And so dinosaurs like me, even now, I guess, can still relate to them, because, if there was one sort of common characteristic, it was working hard, and whoever we're there to help, we do that together and we do our best.
Absolutely. What's next, mate?
What's next? So I'd say for the business first, Yozu, we're talking to some clients of, very exciting project opportunities, and, we're really keen to get those over the line, because that's ultimately how our business grows. It might give us opportunity to bring in some new faces and grow a couple of our teams out a bit more. We're trying to pull out all the stops really to, sort of start some new projects in the forthcoming quarter. So that's keeping us busy. For me, I'm starting to get a little bit more involved in the sort of Liverpool business community outside of just education. So I was recently appointed to the Liverpool City Region's Creative Industries Board. So it's still sort of in the early flow of getting everyone back together after holidays. But the purpose is essentially to bring a group of business leaders from the sort of the digital creative tech sectors, where we've got businesses in the city, and influence policy that's being brought through, and ultimately trying to stimulate the economy and create more opportunities for businesses and employees. So I was really pleased to join that group, and I want to do some good, and hopefully from not just myself but the experience within our business, that we're going to be able to contribute in that way.
Cool. If you want people to, or if you're open to it, where can people find out more about you, the business? Where's the easiest place?
Yeah, so our website's yozu.co.uk, nice and easy to find.
It'll be in the description anyway.
There's that. We're based in the Cotton Exchange in Liverpool, so lovely old building. If anyone ever wants to drop in and have a coffee with us, got an open door policy as far as that's concerned. And obviously, there'll be links to my LinkedIn profile, so always happy to have a chat in DMs about anything that we can help out with. Quite sort of a big believer in building relationships rather than trying to sell to people or anything like that. Most of our relationships with clients come from those natural conversations that just happen with good fortune, I guess.
Anything else on your mind, mate?
I'm just really keen to go back to the student thing. I think I've been quite disappointed that one of the sort of after effects of the pandemic has actually seen entry-level jobs really become harder to find. So, I'd really like to focus on how can we not just improve the graduate's ability, say, to find that job, but how can businesses be in a better position to bring them in? I think one of the big common problems agencies have had, and it's certainly happened in our business, is if you're going to bring someone in who's got loads of potential, but does need some runway to bed in and to learn not just maybe how to code, on a commercial project, but what to like to work on a team, what to like to work with a client, what to like to be part of a business where there's 40, 50 people. And that takes time, and it takes the other experienced team members to be able to spend that time with them. And unfortunately, because we've all been up against it in the last few years with sort of managing our own sort of finances and making sure that the business is still moving forward, it's been all hands to the pump. So that time hasn't always been available, and that has limited our ability to bring in that sort of entry level role on a regular basis. And I know we're not the only business that has suffered from that, and it's such a shame because it's great to bring in someone with maybe limited experience but the new ideas, or maybe a skill set we don't have, or just another character that gives you a different sort of edge to your team and your culture. So that's been on my mind quite a lot, and it's something that I think will take a little bit of time to change, but there's so many benefits to the regional economy and to how you can build the next sort of superstar in your business who wants to learn.
Food for thought. Any ideas? Let us know.
Let us know.
Yeah. Thanks, mate.
That was really
good. If you enjoyed this video, this episode, which I did, in the corner over there'll probably be a video that YouTube recommends with another interesting person. So go and check that out. Yeah. Thanks, mate.
Great. Thanks, Jack.